welcome to Gluten Free for All TV. I'm Leslie. Last night we camped out in the lovely Balmoral Estates, out where the Queen lives in Scotland. She comes up for a visit. So we spent the night, had a lovely time. But this morning we're going to make a bannock bread, but we're going to make a gluten-free bannock bread because just because you can't have gluten doesn't mean you can't enjoy something that's part of the big outdoors. Now, bannock bread apparently originated in Scotland, so says my Scottish husband. This is not open for debate, so we're not allowed to leave comments about it. But they brought it over to Canada. And the Native Americans have been eating it for years, and it's a staple. It was a staple of their food. So I brought the ingredients for a gluten-free version here, so we're going to give it a go. And we're going to cook it on the fire and see how well we do. I brought the basic ingredients. Put them all in little Ziploc bags just because it's easier to carry. But what you could do with all your ingredients is you can put them all in a pre-made bag and then just mix it up when you get to where you're going. But for the demonstration, I just wanted to show you what I've put into this particular recipe. Now, the recipe itself will be on my website and also listed below, so you can get the exact measurements. Okay, so first of all, what you'll need is a little pan. I got this from the dollar store. They're only, well, $1, but you know, they're good because you can just use them, and if you get destroyed in the fire, it's not a big deal. And then I just have a little mixing bowl. I have about 3 cups of gluten-free flour. I have a little bit of brown sugar because I'm going to make a sweet version. I have about a 1/3 cup of skim milk. Skim milk is what's going to help make your bread rise. I also have 3 tablespoons of baking powder. Now make sure it's the gluten-free baking powder, not baking powder with gluten in it. And I also have about a teaspoon of salt in there. I have a little bit of olive oil. You can use olive oil or you can use lard, whatever you want. I think the olive oil might mix better, but you can use any kind of fat. I have a few raisins as well because I'm going to put a little bit of fruit in there to give it a bit of extra flavor. And finally, the secret ingredient, rum. What time is it? It's 9:30. It's early enough. It's late enough actually. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, so first we're going to prepare the pan. So I put a little bit of lard in the bottom of the pan. I don't want the bannock to stick. I mean, this is just me being a weird foodie, but I'm going to line the bottom of the pan with some parchment paper. You don't need to do this. I think Ray Mears would probably cringe right now, but whatever. I want my bannock bread not to burn. So I'm just going to line my pan with that. And the lard will make it stick to the bottom. I'm going to probably put a little bit more lard just in the bottom here again. Just a little bit, because I think that'll just help our bottom get a bit crispy. Then, in our mixing bowl, all we're going to do is add all the ingredients together. So we'll start with our flour.
Which one are you using today?
Well, this is our gluten-free flour blend, and this is from Dove's Farms, but I'm sure you can use any gluten-free flour mix. It'll work really well. The secret to bannock bread is the fact that you actually don't have to overmix it like you would like a regular bread. You want actually you don't need to work it up with a gluten. What gives it its risiness and it sticks together is the fact that you get the powdered milk in there. So gluten-free flour blend will work really well. So we're going to add our powdered milk. We're going to add our baking powder, our gluten-free baking powder. Going to add a bit of salt. Not too much, but just enough. Going to add now, I don't know, I'm going to say about a tablespoon or so of sugar. You can use brown sugar or regular sugar. You don't even actually have to have sugar, but the version I'm doing right now is rum and raisins, so I'm going to have a little bit sweet and I like it for breakfast. I'm going to add a handful of raisins and about about a 1/3 cup of olive oil. I'm going to mix that in. And finally, we want to add our water. Now, you got to be really careful with the water because you don't want to add too much because you're going to be left with a sloppy mix. So if you want to be on the safe side, just bring some extra flour to thicken it up. If you do a pre-mix and you don't bring enough, if you add too much water, you're pretty much hooped. So let's just get this all mixed up, adding a little bit of water at a time. That definitely needs more. Don't worry about the rum, guys. That's coming at the end. Now the baking powder is going to cause this to rise like a bread, like a regular bread. One thing about gluten-free flour too, it tends to absorb more water than a traditional wheat flour, wheat flour. Wheat flour, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you may need to use a little bit more water. It's looking a bit wet, but fortunately I brought some extra flour. You know, I just did what I told you not to do, put too much water in. But that's okay, it'll probably just need to cook a bit longer. So now I'm going to put the dough into my prepared pan. Now if you make the dough a bit drier, you should be able to wrap it around a stick. I haven't tried that myself yet, but so if you do, let me know how it works. So there we go. Got the dough, or the batter in our pan. It's too runny, it shouldn't be this runny, but we're going to give it a go anyways. And now we're going to take and put it on our embers on our makeshift oven, and we're going to bake it. We're going to keep an eye on it though so it doesn't burn. Okay, so we've had a fire here, we have some embers. So we put the pan right on top of the embers because you don't want to cook directly on the fire. And then we're going to make our own little kind of makeshift oven. We're going to cook it on here. We're also going to cover it with one of these aluminum foil pans that you cook like cinnamon buns or turkeys and that kind of thing. And that's going to help retain some of the heat. There's lots of different techniques you can use for cooking near fire, so just use the one that's best for you. But we're going to give this one a go. We're going to keep an eye on it. We might have to turn it and move it around just to make sure it doesn't burn and it cooks through. This should help keep the ashes out as well. So let's take a look and see how this is cooking. Oh yeah, look, it's getting nice and brown. I'm worried it might be a bit dark on the bottom, but I might try to flip it later. Now I've carefully flipped it over. I was worried about the bottom burning. And it looks pretty good. So I'm going to flip it and cook it on the other side for a little while just so it cooks through. Okay, so there's no cooking time when you're doing anything over a fire. It's just done when it's done. So this cooked for about 35-40 minutes and it was a bit on the wetter side, so probably took a bit longer than it normally would. Well, let's take a look and see how it is. This stick. Alright, well I got a little bit of burnt bit on there, but see? Alright. Well, looks alright. Now the thing about bannock bread is that you don't cut it, you're always supposed to break it. That's the rule. But before we do that, we're going to finish it with our rum. So you can do this with any kind of liqueur if you want, or liquor. We're just going to finish it with a little bit of rum. It's all going to soak in there nicely. And what I have also for a little special treat is a tiny bit of maple syrup toffee. Just going to put a little bit on there just for a little extra sweetness. You don't need that, but being from Canada and all, I need to make sure I have a little taste of home in Scotland, so my imported maple syrup toffee, yummy. Straight from Montreal or Quebec. Okay, Neil, you gonna come break bread with me? Or do you want me to break it for you?
Go ahead.
Alright, let's give this a go. Oh, look at that.
You have some.
Okay, I'll give this
What do you think?
It's good. Ooh, it's good. I have it's slightly on the moist side just because I added a little bit too much water, but I think because I cooked it longer, it's actually pretty good.
That's really good.
You know what I think it needs? A little bit more rum.
A little bit more rum. Just hope that we'll be able to drive after this.
Oh, you'll be able to drive.
Got a long way to go home.
I know. Hopefully the Queen won't stop us on the way. We're using very good rum too. Using Brugal 1888, which is the best.
Oh, really good. It's really good. It's a bit more spongy than the regular ones.
Like
But it's not far off actually.
So for a gluten-free version, would you be able to tell that's gluten-free compared to a regular bannock?
I reckon if somebody didn't tell you, you'd just think that it was a particularly well done one. By which I mean expertly done.
Expertly done.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, you know, we strive to please here, Gluten Free for All TV, Neil, so... Alright, so give this a try at home next time you go camping. Let us know how you made out. So be sure to like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and if you have any comments, you can leave them below. See you later!